Let's find our destiny.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the New Era Paranormal Podcast with JD Curry and Irina Kiloways. Today's guest is Daniel Klaes, the owner of the Hinsdale House, the executive producer and production manager of Deathwalker, and a cast member for the Ghost Finders and a few other independent shows. So, Dan, do you want to give us a background of how you got into the paranormal and where everything started?
Sure. I mean, for me, it started off when I was younger, not really knowing things that were happening in my house, because my parents always kind of like tried to give us excuses as to what they were trying to like maybe save us from whatever was happening. Save us from what was ever happened. Something just moved us on the side of me. My office is in a really old building, so. But anyway, so yeah, they were always giving us excuses of why things were happening. But later, when I was getting a little older, I started realizing that, nobody's pulling pranks on us. We're going to church on Sunday and going out for breakfast as a family, and then coming home to crayon drawings on our ceiling, and nobody went into our house. Nobody has keys to our house, and crayons sitting in the middle of our living room. So stuff like that was happening. The maybe seeing like a shadow, hearing footstep creaks going up the stairs in my house, and always just kept me kind of like interested in like what's going on. And I ended up buying that house from my parents, and I was able to dive into that like as an owner, like with the history of the house, trying to figure out like what was happening, because my son started experiencing things immediately, like as soon as we moved into that house. And it just, everything that happened to me when I was a kid kind of all came back, and realizing that he was experiencing some of the same stuff that I did. I was able to kind of look into the history and dive in with the library and find out that there were 2 children that had passed away in the house of cystic fibrosis. I had gone to Lilydale, and again, this is before I believed in psychics, before I really believed in ghosts even. And my friend had told me I should go and speak to a psychic there. And I had spoken with, her name's Ellen Bourne. I'm still kind of friends with her to this day, because she told me things that nobody would ever know. Before I even paid her even, it was like, wow. She said there's two child energies staying at the home that are attached to something in that location that they're very fond of. And it just kind of was like, wow, I didn't even pay her yet. And I spent years trying to figure out what it was. I asked my dad, I go, was there anything in this house that was like original that you know of? And then one day I was in the upstairs of the house, and I looked up and I realized that there was an attic, like the little squares in the ceiling that nobody ever goes into. But I had popped open that little square and kind of tiptoed around up there, and I found these boards that were against the back wall. And when I turned them around, there were paintings of a little boy and a little girl playing with their dog, like a series of paintings. And I just told them, we found what you love. You can go to the light. And I felt like just like a weight lifted off my shoulders. It felt like it was like my first Scooby-Doo episode of my life. And it really got me into like researching and history and paranormal. And I started, kind of like you started off, JD, like going to events and just learning and picking up and then becoming your own person, like going to Gettysburg and going to all these different places and just listening to more seasoned paranormal investigators, and then kind of doing my own thing, and started my own ghost hunting group like 13, 14 years ago, and started documenting things on YouTube. And that's been kind of my story, ever since.
I was reflecting on that earlier. Our paths are kind of similar. And you were kind of like one of the first people to mentor or be my reference for the paranormal. So,
well, I think it's important, because so many people get discouraged, like the younger generation of people get discouraged. And I just wanted to be, open arms to anybody that wants to do this, because you never know what that person can bring to the table. You never know you know, you just I just don't like being discouraging to people, especially if they're interested in something. And so I think it's just important to be inclusive of everybody that wants to do what they do
Yeah.
And that was great of you to do that because JD is talented, very talented.
in more ways than one, from what I hear. Oh, I got him to smile. Look at that. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. And then you know, one of our investigations was the Hinsdale house. I didn't own it yet. It was you know, it was freaky for me because I didn't know anything about the Hinsdale house when I went there. And the co-founder of my group threw that one on us, and he's like, "I'll brief everybody when we get there." You know, and it's the middle of December, and you know how the roads are in December, especially you get to Hinsdale going
In
up the
upstate
mountain.
New York.
Oh yeah, well, and throw some mountains in there too. You know, with a 2-wheel drive car. You know, it was quite fun getting up to the house, and I just remember because it's so isolated up there, I'll just hear the wind blowing. I always, you guys ever see that commercial with the chainsaws hanging from the garage, and there's a running car, and there's a guy chasing them, and they're like, "Let's go hide."
And they go in the big barn, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always kind of feel like that's what it felt like going up there, and then I'm gonna go hang out in this house, and then I got in there, and it's freezing out, and there's no heat in the house. It's like it was pretty gross. You know, the ceiling was sinking in. There was black mold in there. The only source they had in the house was in the living room, and he had us sit down on the computer and watch the episode of A Haunting at Dark Forest. It's called, and that was kind of the story of the Hinsdale house that was done on A Haunting with the Dandy family that lived there in the 70s. And I remember looking at my co-founder of the group, and I said, "We're not in that house. We're not in this house, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, cool." I'm like, "No, not cool." You know, like it was like kind of not something you want to find out like immediately that there was a failed structural exorcism in the place I'm sitting in right now, and had no knowledge of it prior. But yeah, it was
Winter.
in the middle of the winter. Oh, by the way, I didn't have any Wi-Fi yet either, so my cell phone service was out, so there was no way to get to the outside world. There's flies buzzing around in the living room, in the kitchen, and it's like negative 32 degrees in the kitchen because there's no, you know, I had to like step outside for 20 minutes and kind of like ground myself and mentally prepare myself to go back in there and do an investigation, you know, and documented it all on our YouTube station. And the thing that really stood out about that house to me was that, you know, all the investigations I've been on in the past, you know, I could sit in a room for 4 hours and be lucky if I get an EVP or a spike on my Q meter. But in this house, it seemed like all the equipment that we brought was getting manipulated that night. It was like something wanted to speak to us or reach out to us. And I was kind of infatuated with the location from that point on, you know, not like Gollum in the Ring infatuated, but it was very interesting to me, you know, like it was very interesting to be able to go back there and see if the same, you know, if I had the same type of interaction as I did the first time. And I went back so many times, and it got to the point where there were, you know, the guy that owned it was from Calgary at that point, and he defaulted on the mortgage. And the people that were local that were helping out with the house, they were basically just working and funneling the money up to Calgary, and they weren't putting any money into the location. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. And then he defaulted on the mortgage and went back to the bank, and the bank decided they were going to just tear it down. We were able to kind of go there and say goodbye to the place because it had a wrecking ball date. They ripped all the electrical, all the ductwork out of it, and it was kind of a shell. And that night that we got to say goodbye to the location is the first time that I ever kind of went outside the whole exorcism aspect of the location, because I said there's got to be other people that experience this. There's got to be other people that have been here that have dealt with paranormal. And I found out about the Misnick family, which was an older couple that lived there. They were the last people to live there in the 80s. And they had both passed away. One passed away in the house and was revived and then died later in Olean. And I just thought, you know, well, maybe one of them are here, or maybe they've experienced this location. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there and we're in the kitchen and everybody's talking about the exorcism and nothing's happening. And then I said, "Flo, are you here?" And I had the kind of very, from my personal experience, I had the K2 meter in my hand, and I felt like something had touched my hand. You could feel like electric. I had goosebumps up my arm. Hair was standing up on my, and I'm not one to say that in all the years that I've been doing it that I've gotten touched, scratched, none of that stuff. It's not something I was after. And when I asked her to hold my hand and I felt that, I was like, whoa, this is like really weird, really, really weird. And then I said, will you hold my hand as we go up the stairs? And the K2 meter stayed lit in my hand all the way up the stairs into the master bedroom. And there's so many synchronicities with that story. The guy that did all the photography for my group came in and started plastering pictures, and we caught this pair of legs on the stairs in the house that night. The next day, I posted a picture of Hinsdale House on my Facebook page, and I got an inbox message from this lady named Jackie that I had never met before. And she goes, that looks like my grandparents' old house. And I said, well, who are your grandparents? And she said, Flo and Joe Misnick. I go, you got to freaking me right now. And at that point, I knew that I wanted to try to save the place if I could. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had just bought a new house for my family, and funds were very limited at that point in my life. And but I thought, I guess where there's a will, there's a way. And if things are supposed to happen the way they're supposed to happen, maybe this will work out. So I reached out to the bank and went to the meeting in Cuba, New York, and told them that I wanted to keep the location. They were insistent that it was being torn down. And they felt my passion for keeping it up. And they said, well, if we do this deal, it has to be a cash deal. I'm like, great. And we'll hook the electricity back up to the house, but you're responsible for putting everything back the way it was, And I'm like, great. So I had to come up with 10 grand. I had the next thing I had to do was talk to my wife.
Hey, the honey. Next thing, not the first thing.
Well, she did not know I was going down initially to talk about buying the location. So
you want to make sure there was a possible yes first.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that there was a possibility of being able to buy the location first, and then I talking to my wife about basically emptying our whole bank account to put a deposit down on this house, and that was interesting. And she's like, "Oh, tell me more about the location." I'm like, "Oh, it needs new siding. It needs a new roof. There's 500,000 honeybees living in the floorboards. There's black mold all throughout the kitchen. There's no electrical. There's no septic tank. There's no running water. And, all that's probably going to add up to quite a bit." And her mouth kind of just dropped. But after we had the discussion, she kind of believed in my vision of fixing it up, and allowed me to basically take every cent that we had to go on a whim to buy this location and put a deposit down on this location. And the bank was holding the mortgage for me, and for this astronomical, it was a like this lease type of thing. I don't know. It was ridiculous interest rate, and it was like a 30-year thing. It's crazy. Where basically I'd be paying for the whole thing like 5 times, and I did it. I just did it anyway. I did it, and it was crazy, because I remember standing in front of that location after I gave away every cent that I had and drove there, and the grass was 4 feet tall. The door was wide open of the location. And I'm like, what the F did I just do? This is crazy, and, it's been, you see the place today, you see what it looked like when I got it. It's been a whirlwind of not just me, but so many people in the community assisting with the location and helping out, volunteering, donating things, being able to do tours and reinvest the money back into getting it done correctly. I mean, it was patch jobs for the first couple of years, whatever we could get donated to patch the location up and fix it from leaking, and, remedying the bees and the black mold and just making it safe for people. And then just kind of, after you get it remedied to a point where, okay, it's stable now let's fix it the right way and go back and fix it, put new windows in, put a new roof on, put the correct siding on it's supposed to be on the building. So it was just kind of going back and forth. But we did this day of caring there the first year I owned it, and it needed a new roof. It needed the black mold, the honeybees, just so much yard work needed to be done. And like 67 people showed up from the paranormal community and surrounding areas to help out that day. And it was just like, kind of like a blessing, it's like what goes around comes around type of thing, and all these people that I had met doing like tours, ghost tours in Buffalo and other places, like that were really into it, came up and helped out. And it was a weight off my shoulders in a way, because getting that roof fixed was huge because it was leaking, and it's what was causing all the black mold in the house. So being able to get the quote was like $27,000 because it was a complete tear off, and there was like cedar shingles underneath there. I mean, it was really bad, and we got it done for like 5K because of the donated materials and people that came and helped do the work. So it was quite awesome.
So the first time that you went to the house to investigate, that was filmed?
Yeah, it's all on my YouTube. On my YouTube, it's a YouTube show that we used to do called Behind the Shadows. And yeah, so it's part 1 and part 2 is when I went back and that whole thing happened with Flo for the Hinsdale House episodes. And it's crazy because those 2 episodes probably are the highest viewed of my little show I did on YouTube. Like probably 500,000 views, like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. We also last year went to the Eagle Hotel that was on your show.
Yeah, that was fun. Did you go to the
place?
It is, and I'll tell you what, out of all the places that I've been to, that I feel like I've been maybe touched or manipulated, the Eagle Hotel was one of them, and the Bel Air House was another one in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And all of those I had experiences on. The Eagle Hotel, I had an experience on the stairs coming down from the ballroom where I felt like I couldn't move, and I felt like there was like the energy was getting sucked out of me. And the same thing when I was at the Bel Air House, when I was sleeping in the bedroom next to my friend. Weird. That's weird. It's just it's weird that I can be affected by something that we can't see,
Yeah.
But it is. It's like I always say, like the energy is all around us, right? It's how we perceive it and how we take it. So
we had a lot of experience up in the ballroom as well. I mean, we had experience through especially personal experiences through that whole through the whole Eagle Hotel. So sorry?
Did you get to eat there before they closed it?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it wasn't open when we went. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but they had people. Do you remember that somebody came in when we were investigating and we thought we were experiencing something, and we found out that these people randomly showed up in the building. I think they were supposed to be redoing the restaurant.
Yeah, that's something to do with the food.
We did that too. If you watched our episode, did you see how the police just showed up and came into the building while we were in the middle of doing the investigation? They were just checking to make sure that everything was on the up and up, And they actually participated in the investigation with us in the basement.
Ah!
And they're like, okay, we're going to get out of here now.
Well, that would have been interesting because we caught some mob activity or something weird like that in the basement.
Well, I always thought
we got an EVP down there too. Yeah.
I always thought that ballroom that they had upstairs was so interesting because of all the donations and all the historic pieces that they had up there. I mean, you never know what could be attached to some of those items, and
yeah,
it's really cool,
So, you talked about on the ceiling of your house there was some type of writing. I didn't catch that. What kind of writing was on the ceiling?
So there were crayon drawings, like scribbles, like all over the ceiling.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then when we walked in the house, there were crayons sitting in the middle of our living room.
Okay. Oh, holy cow!
I always I was an older brother. I had 3 sisters, so anytime something happened in the house, I got blamed. Now I'm a teaser. I'm one to say that I accept my consequences if I did do something wrong, but I got blamed for stuff that I didn't do for sure. My sister was anal about her stuffed animals, and they'd always be moved, and I would always get blamed for teasing her. I'm like, I tease her, but I didn't do this one. I didn't move that stuffed animal this time. The one time my parents and my sisters had gone camping in Shirkston up in Canada, and I could have went, but I chose to stay home with my best friend at the time. He lived 2 doors down, and we were in our teens, and we were going back to my house to get my G.I. Joe guys because we were going to play G.I. Joes in the sand in his backyard. And when we opened the door, it sounded like somebody was singing Ring Around the Rosie coming from upstairs. and I was freaked out. I wanted to get the hell out of there, and he jumped. He was no fear whatsoever, just ran right up the stairs. So I followed behind him, and when we went past my sister's room, one of her dolls was sitting on the floor, and it just flopped over, and it was like, whoa, like, what the heck was that?
Have you ever seen the experiences from your first, from your first home? Have you ever experienced them in a different location, the same kind of experience in a different location, or in the Hinsdale house, where you feel like maybe something carried over, or has it all been independent?
I feel like the stuff that I've seen some residual type stuff at some of the locations, but for the most part, most of the locations that we've gone to have been like individual circumstances, where we were able to help a family out or debunk something that maybe somebody thought was happening. There was this one family in Freedom, I think it was Freedomville, New York, and they had this farmhouse on close to an Indian reservation, and they were scared. The kids were scared to sleep in their bedrooms. The older teen daughter had moved out to live with her boyfriend because of all the stuff that was happening, and the husband was bringing us in to appease his wife. Didn't believe in any ghosts or anything like that were in the house, and just it was all things that were happening were explainable to him. Like the doors on the cabinets opening up, and the things moving in the house, and people seeing shadows, and that was all explainable to him by sunlight. He had an explanation for everything, and I remember we were in the basement and we were doing an EVP session, and we got the EVP that came through. It just said, because we said, "Who are you?" And it said Dallas. And it made no sense to us whatsoever, So right away we wanted to sit them down at the table and let them hear the EVP and just say, "Does this mean anything? Are we on the right path?" And the kids were there, the mother was there, and the father was sitting at the end of the table. And when we played it, everybody didn't know what was going on, and he was crying. And we're like, "Does this mean something to you?" He goes, "That's my father. And it sounds like my father." And that was his name. His name was Dallas. And so we were able to basically sum up the whole situation to his father being in the house, trying to let them know that he was there, and he meant no harm to anybody. It wasn't anything malevolent or trying to hurt anybody. It was scary for them because they'd never experienced anything like that before. By the end of that night, we spent part of the night like redoing the kid's bedroom. And he slept in his room that night. He actually came downstairs with us and had a conversation with his grandfather, and he was all excited about it. And he was like 11. It was so like situations like that really are meaningful when you can help a family out and understand what's going on, or try to understand what's going on.
Yeah, of course. Have you found are children often involved, like with your investigations? Have you had a lot of experience with kids in investigations, or is it more rare for you?
No. In a lot of the years, even at the Hinsdale house, like it's crazy because of YouTube and because of the television shows, so many kids are getting into this. Like they're young and they're interested in this type of stuff. And there's paranormal clubs now in Franklinville. There's paranormal clubs in Buffalo. There's and these are in middle schools.
I was just going to say, middle school.
so they're contacting me and asking me if I can come and speak to their club, I just think it's important. Like I've had bus trips from middle schools to the Hinsdale house to do a daytime investigation, and they had to put all their evidence together and come back and present it to me. And I take some shit for it, because some people are just like anti-kids being involved. But if a parent signs off on it and they're okay with their kids doing it and they're responsible enough, I feel like, why not let them have a shot? Maybe they're going to bring something to the table, and maybe they're going to think outside the box. Maybe they're more open to something that we can't, that we're blocking out with all this crazy shit that we got going in our heads 24/7.
Right.
They're a lot more simple, as far as like what their worries are and their daily input. So, I mean, there's people that have written bad stuff about me because I let kids come to the demon house or whatever, but it's all been great positive experiences. And some of these kids have moved on to have teams now. I just got invited to a girl's wedding that was on one of those things, like that, so I mean, it's cool, I think it's good to inform and get them on the right path now, as opposed to hearing those stories of, oh, they broke into an old asylum and fell through the floor and got hurt, or do
Yeah.
things, teach them how to do things the right way and in a respectful way. I think they're going to get farther than we are, probably.
Yeah. Well, also, kids get really scared. If something happens in their home, they're scared. So what you're doing is you're opening them up to being not afraid.
Right. Yeah.
It can be explained, or it's not scary. It's not dangerous in that sense where, they're afraid to open the door to the closet, so. Oh,
I'm even scared.
Are
you still there?
Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a couple cases that have even frightened me. In Hinsdale House, I mean, I was freaked out at the beginning when I owned it and everything, but not so much anymore. But there's been cases where I've had to call in help because it's not something I wanted to deal with, or I felt comfortable dealing with. So, but I'd say 99% of the time it's positive. After you figure it out.
Do you think there's a reason that some people do experience a negative energy when a lot of people don't?
I think I experience negative energy at Hinsdale House because some people bring in that type of energy. It's what you bring to the table sometimes. And sometimes people have negative vibes, negative. They come in thinking, oh, we have to do it this way, or this way, and instead of taking a different type of approach. So I think, just like in the human world, how you approach things is the reaction you're going to get. And so if I'm sitting here swearing at you, calling you names and stuff like that, how are you going to respond to me? You're going to say, oh, hi, I'm Michelle. Or, no, you're going to swear back and be an asshole. So, I mean, it's just it's your energy. I think it's people's energy. And there's always going to be those type of people, and dealing with it. So.
Have you yourself, or has anybody, who has investigated the Hinsdale House, have you ever had to stop an investigation because of something overwhelming happening, or something, maybe that could have possibly, other than like physical danger, in a spiritual sense, dangerous, could have happened?
There's been a couple times where we have stopped an investigation, a couple of times where people were getting overwhelmed. And again, I think it's a lot of what they brought to the table. But yeah, we had to, there was a guy that was getting so affected by the energy in the location, and he just didn't know how to take it or handle it. And it was getting to the point where he was not stable. He shouldn't have been in there doing the investigation. I try to feel people out, because all the bookings come through me. I see them all. And if there's somebody in question, I usually try to call and talk to them too, because there's some questionnaires involved and whatnot. But some slip through the cracks, and So I mean, yeah, you have to kind of make calls on things sometimes. If somebody comes in drunk or they're drinking too much, I tend to not let them have an investigation. We've had to cancel it a couple times. One time, a group of teachers came bombed. It's like, no, sorry. This is a serious thing. This isn't Dracula's haunted house on Clifton Hill in Niagara Falls. This is a real deal here. So you kind of have to.
Was it a group of kindergarten teachers? Was it?
I don't know. It was that most of them were respectful, but there was one that was just being belligerent. So we had to get them out of there. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about your approach.
Yeah,
you would.
So can you tell us about your experience with filmmaking and all the content you create, going from your independent shows to Death
I mean, it's, for the most part, I'm all self-taught. I've taken some classes, but it's just kind of teaching yourself how to do the editing and being able to put a show together. And then when I first bought the location, you get lots of requests from people to do the investigations and whatnot. And a lot of the times they're like, oh, I have a huge YouTube show, and can I get the place for free? And I'm actually, to this day, I don't, if somebody really needs to have the location for free and whatever, I'm all about like the promotion, especially like go live there, if we go out or something like that, and garners whatever. It's free. It's free looks on place as far as I'm concerned. And I know a lot of locations are like anti having things filmed there because they're afraid of what the narrative is of the location. I feel like I don't have a narrative. I feel like people have their own experiences at the house, and their experiences are their experiences, and if they want to talk about them, then that's up to them. Because a lot of people have had many different experiences there, and sometimes people have brought things in, like they've had an experience with a family member at the house, and they're more in tune with investigating and communicating with the paranormal. That night they actually communicated with their grandmother at my house. Like weird things have happened. So it's like I don't know, I just feel like it's good to allow that to happen. And I had gotten information from this guy named Justin out of California, and they wanted to come fill their new show filming. And I'm like, okay, so I talked to him, and he knew about things more than I did at this point. And I know more about than I did, and took his information, got them signed up to come do their show. And I didn't know until I got the contract that it said Groff Entertainment on it. I didn't know that it was going to be Nick Groff. I didn't know that it was going to be Katrina filming Paranormal Lockdown for their first season, and I just remember thinking, my God, this is one of the big guys, this is coming here, and getting to know him and Katrina, throughout the years, and just being able to be in his inner circle and work with him hands-on locations and filming Paranormal Lockdown, and then in turn filming and starting Deathwalker together. I've learned so much from him in editing and how to control like sound, and what's most important about making a show, as opposed to what can ties on, or what can we cut ends on here and make this look better, or whatever. So it's I picked up a lot from him and doing the edits for these shows. And we've been producing, I produced some more episodes of Behind the Shadows, and I felt like I used some of the knowledge that I learned from him in order to produce those YouTube shows. And then some full length movies that we've done, some documentaries that we've done. It just kind of just branched, and I never thought in a million years that a guy with a marketing and business degree was going to end up owning a haunted house and making YouTube videos and having stuff on Discovery and TV shows on Discovery Plus and different international stations and stuff like that. And it's just a whole new world. But I guess you take chances on life, and maybe things work out for good, and sometimes they work out for bad, But I mean, I took a get in this house, and you just never know where it's going to take you. You kind of just have to roll with the punches and try to be positive.
Will there be another season of Deathwalker?
Right now we have offer to do it.
Awesome.
So we're trying to the United Kingdom has an offer on the table for us, but we're trying to make sure that we can sell it to the United States because it's the biggest market, But we did sell season 4 and season 5 finally, because we sold 1 through 3 in the United States. So season 4 and season 5 is going to be up probably before October, I would think, maybe September. So that's really cool. And I was super excited when we got that done. So it'll be on everything streaming again. So all the streaming networks, and we'll probably end up doing that. And we have a couple more documentaries that we have signed up to do. We just did one called The Devil's Mark, and it premiered at the Riviera in North Tonawanda, and then we just had another premiere last Wednesday in Michigan at a drive-in theater that sold out, which was kind of cool to go see at a drive-in theater. And we're positioning that right now for everybody to be able to see it online too. So like on Tubi or some type of online streaming service that we want it to be free. We don't want people to have to pay for a service to watch it. That's the biggest thing for us, like positioning it so, like TV should be. It should be free. Even if you have to watch a couple commercials or something, it shouldn't have to cost somebody to watch something.
Yeah. Oh, I thought JD had a question.
Yeah, did you guys do reenactments for 4 and 5 for Deathwalker?
Because of the budgets that we had, we did some like I'd say 50% reenactments, and the rest we did. You'll notice we did some like AI stuff, like added some AI stuff, and then we also did some not as far as like reenactments go, but we did some like stuff with this actors and actresses from Fright World, and we were able to film a whole bunch of stuff with them to add it into the show as well. That like some of the scenes that we needed to have done. So it's kind of a mishmash of all different things that we could afford to do to get it done.
I'd be interested to see the AI because I had a feeling you went that route.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching it turned out pretty good, and actually, season 5 is different too because AI narrates the whole thing instead of Nick.
Oh, wow.
He wanted, yeah, it's different.
Does it still
But it's
sound
really,
like
I think,
him, or is it?
no, it's like it's a different voice, and it's
Okay.
but I feel like the quality of shots and the and what was better. So I don't know, like we just had to kind of budget it out and see what was going to be best for the show at that point, with the filming. Sometimes getting the shots and filming it make the show 10 times better when you can put the evidence down, and be able to prove and show what you did. So, and I think
Yeah.
I think it's cool too. We did for season 5, we got to go to like homes, people, not just we're not just going to like big structures. We actually went to some people's homes and helped people out with some of their, get back to the roots type of thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
What project of all your projects like is near and dear to your heart? The one that has stood out to you that you think about often.
Deathwalker for sure. I mean, it's we started off with the ground player trying to go for a show, and just to be able to see it come together. I mean, I learned so much. Like, Nick was on Ghost Adventures, and he's used to having a crew of like 75 to 100 people, and we're sitting here trying who's going to do these 10 things, who's going to do that. You've seen JD, so you've participated in,
Oh, we're losing you.
Still there?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I could hear you.
We heard about 75 to 100 people, and then I lost you. Did you get him,
Yeah,
JD?
75.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's used to having these big crews, and we had to condense all the jobs down, like casting and like different things like that, like things that I just got wet doing, like learning how to do this stuff and trying to make sure that time worked and timelines and what we were going to do for this and how we were going to get this shot and how are we going to do the, like all these different, we get a shot list and you have to go through and cast people to kind of make those pieces work and make this work. So I had a lot to do with doing the casting, bringing in makeup artists, people that brought in period clothing, making sure that we had the right look for everything that we were doing. So I mean, it's not only was in charge of production, I was also the casting director. I also gave their vacation out. I had to cut checks for things, like I did catering. I had to make sure that we had food and snacks and stuff on site for everybody. So
that's very important.
A lot of jobs. I think so too. Yeah, being able to have something to eat while you're there, especially when you're shooting all day.
And water, especially water.
Cases of water. I was always running to get water. And it was really cool too, just being able to have a lot of people from the community involved, local.
Oh, we lost him.
Wow. Completely left this time.
No, he was in the middle of a sentence. He didn't leave us. We'll wait for him to jump back on. That's pretty cool, though. Deathwalker coming back. I'm excited. 2 seasons, 4 and 5. So, there he is.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened, man. It's weird. Is it my
Maybe the spirits are letting us know they're here.
Screw 'em. Yeah.
So, in so you talked a little bit earlier about your experience at Lilydale, with, I think you said, Ellen Borney at
Ellen
Lilydale.
Bourne. Yeah, Ellen Bourne. Yeah.
Born, sorry. Okay. So, Lilydale is a great place. It's very, like, underrated, but people don't realize, the experiences you can have when you go there. Um, and so, I noticed that, you're doing an event there this summer. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, I was super excited about that because one of the things that in the back of my head was always, oh, I would be cool to be able to go and investigate in Lilydale and film it, like be able to do something there as far as paranormal event goes, and it never ever came to fruition. That you always see the big stars coming in and having their little book signings or whatever they're doing, and this year they reached out to me, and for years too, I was doing psychic fairs. I would always include really dead psychics with my psychic fairs that I was doing. I did ones at Statler in the Tonawanda Castle, the psychic fairs. It was it was cool because they reached out, so was able to do 4 different dates. Well, first they signed me on for 2 more, and then I couldn't end up doing the September one because I'm going to be in Europe, and then I'm doing one in October. So I have June 20th, July 18th, August 1st, I think, or August 3rd or something like that, and then October 3rd, October August 1st and October 3rd. So I'll be doing presentation and then doing a ghost hunt with the people that come in Lilydale. I'm excited to I want to go to the pet cemetery and do some
Oh, yeah.
investigating in the with people. I think that'd be cool.
That'll be fun. Plus,
But
right down the path. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just be so much fun. I'm just so excited. June 20th is coming up pretty soon. So
Yeah. And right down the path is where we deliver messages from the stump. And so, like, that
yeah,
that is such a high energy space. So to be right down the path and to do an investigation in that area, even going, if they let you go down past the pet cemetery to where the actual messages are delivered, I mean, I can't imagine what kind of activity that sounds, like a really fun experience. So I'll do the couple-hour drive. We like going out there. Come and watch. Come and experience it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the fun. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I don't know. I never thought. I always wanted to do this, and I sometimes just manifest things, and I never thought it would happen, but here I am. Got 4 dates there. I'm excited.
Very cool.
You know what it is too. It's because their board changes. They hire, to get onto the board, and so some of the people that I actually interacted with while doing the psychic fairs were the ones that advocated for me, to come and actually do this, and I was just surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, I will definitely do this. Absolutely, I'm super excited to do this. Let's do this. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, just walking down the streets, going down to the water, like any spot there, at the hotel, the big hotel. Oh, I can't think of the name of it at the moment. Oh my gosh, it's slipping my mind. But the historic hotel there, right on the lake. That I had an experience staying in one of the rooms where the door handle waking me up in the middle of the night and nobody being there. So that has a lot of activity. And there's lots of stories that have been shared with me about people being pulled out of their bed. Like there's like that whole area, a lot of activity. I can't imagine. It sounds like it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm super excited to be able to do that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Any chances of Deathwalker going there to film?
Well, I mean, Nick and Tessa are doing an event there this year, so perhaps it's first we got to get in, and then we got to show them what we can do, and hopefully get comfortable with our personas and what a lot of the times there's fear with not knowing, so getting to know the people on the board and getting to know the trustees there, and just having them have a comfort level with us. Perhaps maybe they would. I don't know for sure, but I know that they're very particular about how it's presented, how Lilydale's presented, and how it's presented to the outside world. They want to specifically done certain way. A lot of the times they don't let go of the reins very much.
And it's lasted this long for that reason, so it's really important.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're just they're big about how it's projected out to the outside world. So we'll see. I mean, we're gonna definitely ask for sure. If not, maybe doing a documentary or some type of special, like a one-time type of thing would be cool, you know, where you could incorporate the whole place and just really put a positive spin on it for everybody. I think that would be cool too, to produce something like that.
Yeah, they can use some attention in that way. I mean, it's not like they don't get a lot of business anyway, but it would be nice to give them a lot more positive attention.
Yeah, and I would love to do that if they would allow us to.
Has anything stuck out? So in everything that you've done, all your different experiences, what has changed you, like as a person, as Daniel, that has made you feel like you have become just a better person, a better father, a better friend? What has anything significant happened in these experiences, that this journey you've been on, that you feel have personally changed you as a person and made you better for it?
Yeah, I think that when you're dealing with the paranormal, you're dealing with so many different types of personalities, so many different walks of life, so many different types of people, and I think it's important. I've learned a lot about myself and how you deal with people and how you deal with different personalities and different situations they may be going through, and a lot of it, just I think the way I was before I started doing this is the way I am now. I listen a lot more. I listen to what people have to say, let them get things off their chest, and in turn, try to turn that into more something positive. At the end of the day, people are looking for a positive outcome for the situation that they're in. So trying to find that light for them is important, and no matter, you never know what people are going through in their life. And just trying to understand what they could possibly be going through or what they could possibly be dealing with. Not everybody is as blessed as we are, so being able to show them any little bit of light, maybe get them through a dark time or just help them out, I think is just so important. It's definitely changed my perspective on life in general, and even with my daughter a couple years ago getting cancer, getting osteosarcoma in her leg, you don't want to ever, the whole time that she was going through that, we had to stay strong for her, and it's just, you don't want to have that negative vibe, but there's times where I'd be crying, upset when she's not around, but then when I'm in front of her, it's strong dad, and we're gonna get through this, and you can get through this, and it's and all the love and light came back at us. It's crazy. But yeah, I think that it's definitely changed my perspective in life in general and just how I interact with people.
We learn to appreciate a lot more when we have these types of experiences, and be grateful a lot more. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to talk and understand people, it's important for me. Trying to get them, trying to understand them.
Which is not an easy task. That's
I mean, there's always going to be a few, but I mean, for the most part, I think I can connect with people. Again, it just, a lot of it just has to do with listening, and showing some type of interest in what they're saying, and then trying to put it into perspective, with what they're dealing with. Sometimes you learn more down the road, but not a lot of people stop and listen. And I even feel like the stories of the past are just are leaving us, like nobody is going to be able to carry that torch And I feel like a lot of stories from like even people that have been in the military, or their stories, that they've gone and fought for this country, and here they are on the streets or whatever, like listening to their stories and trying to help get them assistance has been a big thing for me lately too. For the past 3 years, we've been trying to help out as many vets as we can. So it's been a goal of mine, get them their benefits, get them off the streets, and get them what they deserve, because they don't know, a lot of the times they don't know where to even start, and it's there for them. The benefits are there. They just need to take them.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. It's great that you help out that way.
Well, when you have a kid with cancer, and you get humbled pretty quick, because there's so many people that have helped, and so many people that have reached out and donated $1 or whatever, just to help us get through those dark times. And part of you just wants to give back. You just want to keep giving back and doing everything that you can. And then you see another kid going through the same thing that your daughter went through, or whatnot, and you just want to put them in the same perspective that I was in, or she was in, and I don't know. That's just part of my mission for the rest of my life, will be to give back and try to help as many people that are deserving as possible.
That's wonderful. Not a lot of people, want to give back after going through a certain type of experience. I mean, many do also. A lot of people turn it around and try to make it into something beautiful after the fact. But what you're doing, you don't have to do it. You choose to do it, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Shaylee would just assume it all go away. Like she just wants to go back to the life she had, and unfortunately you can't, and we were talking about starting our own not-for-profit, and she didn't want to have her name attached to it. She just wants to help other people, so we're going to help out all the organizations that helped us, volunteer, do whatever we can do, and try to get them as much money as possible to help other families.
That's awesome. Is it ready to go? Is there some way, or are you still working on it?
No, so there's lots of different ways. As you can see behind me, like I have tons of merchandise. Like there's right here is a WWE Championship signed belt. This is a Josh Allen signed thing. I got football helmets over here, footballs, all different types of sports memorabilia, wrestling memorabilia, things that kids like, that are signed by the players that they love, and been collecting this to donate to them, their raffles, or if they're a big fan of a certain player that they don't have access to, we can send them a signed jersey. I have a tote full of jerseys here, soccer or lacrosse, hockey, and football. And I even had to get some Pittsburgh stuff, and I'm not a big fan of Pittsburgh. But it's all about what they want. I've had to send some Detroit stuff out. I've had to send some Pittsburgh stuff out. But it's been fun for me to take things to signings, to meet the players, to get things signed, and then be able to give that stuff all back, to raffles and whatnot. Now, the big thing in Buffalo is Josh Allen right now, and everybody loves Josh Allen. So I try to get as much stuff signed by him as possible, and then frame it up nice. And they'll get thousands and thousands of dollars for a framed Josh Allen jersey at a benefit, for an organization. So that's what I try to do. That's part of it. Plus we'll help with Chinese auctions. We have. Do you ever hear of like penny shopping?
Yeah.
So I have a friend that does penny shopping, and she goes and gets all this stuff at right now my front porch is full of things that we make baskets with for Chinese auctions, so we'll put some cool stuff in there, then we'll put some other stuff, and a lot of stuff we donate to like charity organizations, to the foster closet for foster kids, and for like the children's hospital, like if it's like arts and crafts stuff that they get for a penny, just donate it all back. And when you're in the hospital having like little games to play, coloring, you get so bored. So just even for the parents, just to, you sit there, I'm sitting there coloring, like it's trying to find things to do all day besides eat. Cause I sat there and I think I gained 85 pounds, just eating and sitting for 2 years. So, no, it's just anything that we can do to help. We're doing next Friday, we're helping out at a golf tournament for a fundraiser. And we donated a framed Josh Allen jersey and a framed Kincaid jersey. to that
If
to that organization.
if anybody's watching this right now and they want to help, how can they kind of help out with you, and in this way?
I mean, I would say to make that, if they want to help out, just to reach out to me, because there's organizations that could use like monetary help or volunteer. Like all the time we're looking for volunteers. There's so many amazing organizations in Western New York, like Sweet Buffalo Rocks, and they extend out to like Rochester, Syracuse, down to the southern tier, down to Pennsylvania. Um, there's Shine Gold, there's Sophia the Fierce, there's Hope Totes. The first
Yeah.
one of the first things that we ever got when we were diagnosed with cancer, within the first 2 days, was this little bag of hope from this organization called Hope Totes. And Amy's amazing, Amy Valdez, and she gathers all the stuff. She gets you all the things that you're gonna need for being in the hospital. Blankets, like all this check off list of things that you're gonna need to remember when you're in there, because they all went through it. They've all been through it. So preparing us mentally for what we're going through is so important. And just because you're in the hospital and you don't know how to advocate for yourself, so having all these organizations and people that have been through what we're going through helps us with advocation and advocation for the people that are currently in the hospital. So that's kind of how we roll. There's food pantries in there. Like we try to help keep those food pantries full. Riley's Warriors, there's another kid that's amazing, and they'll come in and they'll fill the food pantry in there. So the families that are in there have food and snacks and stuff to eat while they're in there. So instead of having to spend money, because it's tough. Like donating like DoorDash gift cards or restaurant gift cards to them while they're in the hospital is big too, because you're stuck with hospital food and otherwise, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing every day. So like being able to like go out have a dinner delivered or something like that's so big, especially when you're there every night. So yeah, parking, paying for people's parking. It's not free to park.
Yeah.
So we try to get money to the hospital so they can give free comps to families that are staying there for numerous days. So there's just so many little things that make difference that you can help with.
That's wonderful. So we're kind of getting close to the end. Daniel, do you want to share any kind of information? How can people reserve the Hinsdale House? How can they, connect with you for other projects? If you want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way is I'm pretty accessible. My website is my name, danielklaes.com. I have all the links for my events, the store, the projects that I'm working on, my email. You can just reach out to me, find me on social media. I tend to apply or reply pretty quickly for the most part, unless it's Messenger. It gets tough when you're getting 10 million messages all the time. So to try to prioritize and see what people are saying, but yeah, just email is the best for me usually. So, but yeah, just my name.com and find me and shoot me a message.
Do you have any advice for people trying to get into film or own a haunted location?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, if you're wanting to try to own a haunted location, I would say try to look at the whole broader picture. Look at the whole, don't look at the location so much as we know it's haunted. Okay. Yeah. But let's look at the neighbors. Let's look at the community that it's in. Let's look at the town. Are they going to accept you running a haunted location business there? Like there's a lot of things that you should probably do first before you say, oh, I'm going to buy this house and turn it into a haunted place where people are coming to investigate, or a haunted Airbnb or whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, if I were Hinsdale, I've probably done a few things ahead of time before just diving right in. I probably would have canvassed my neighbors a little bit more, because the house sits on a hill. There are neighbors, but they're pretty far away. But they move up there for a reason. They're on this hill in the middle of nowhere for a reason. They don't want to have a fun house, a triage of cars coming up there 24/7 and bugging out. So like the owners that had it before me were doing like Paracons up there, and there was cars lined all the way down the hill, and like,
Oh wow.
and I don't know that it was appreciated too much. So when I bought the location, I had that stigma with me, like, oh, here's another one. He's going to want to bring all these people up. So I had to make sure that the neighbors knew what my intentions were. I got involved with the festivals that they did and had a table set up and just talked to them. The Hinsdale or Horseradish Festival. Sorry, the Garlic Festival is this town over. But yeah, get involved with the little community stuff, and then make sure that the county is in. Like the county just is supporting of us, and we're on their website, and they promote us now. So it's all working hand in hand and being a good part of the community, as opposed to just making it a money making thing. Because it's, number one, most of these places need a lot of work. And you're not going to, if you are going to make money, it's not going to be probably for 8 to 10 years. I mean, you gotta really put the money and time back into the locations, and really have the passion to be doing it, and be okay with, oh, I lost $1,000 this month, or whatever, it comes with it. And, but if you have the passion, it can be done, So that's my advice for owning a haunted location. And if anybody is thinking about it and they want to talk about it, definitely feel free to reach out. I'm all ears, and we'll give you a list of things to check off before you do it. And then as far as like getting into television or movies or productions, I would say just learn, get involved. Like, even if you're being an extra, JD, I mean, you're on the set, you're talking to people, you're making friends with people that are in the business, and just kind of just keep playing off of it, and learning different aspects of things, and then do your own thing too. In the meantime, while you're setting all these little seeds, you're doing your own thing and growing too. You need to grow as a person and grow as a producer, and try to do the best that you can do, so you'll be noticed. I might be a fluke. I don't know. But sometimes you take chances, and I didn't have to do all that stuff, but you just never know. You never know where things are going to take you. So stay positive, don't burn any bridges, and just keep doing what you're doing, if that's the path you want to take, and have a passion for it. Like if you have passion for it, people are going to see that, when you produce things and it's out on for people to watch and stuff. So
Thank you so much, especially for being on, but for all the information and the guidance you've provided. It's appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could finally make it. I'm not glad the Sabres are out of the playoffs, though. Damn it. But we would have been good, because the game would have been yesterday and tomorrow. So today would have worked.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys, and hopefully we'll meet up soon. Love to hang out with you guys sometime.
That'd be great.
Irene has not been to the house yet, so.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I want to come. Yep, definitely.
Let's do it.
But for our podcast outro here, we're going to be doing a few more interviews this month, and then we're going to be taking a break. And I'll probably have to change the time, because this is getting late for me with a new job. So we'll let you all, we'll keep everybody posted on that. And make sure to check out the Remnants Project. Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Horizons of sea waiting for me, pushing past the fear to explore and see. Oh, on cold tales hidden deep within. Let's break the chains. Let's find our